This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Movies with Ron.
All right. Last week was Blade Runner 2049. Good job, Rick.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rick.
Now we know it's kind of like the lukewarm performance it's doing.
At the box office, yeah.
Not doing so well.
Well, nobody asked for it.
That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah.
I feel like the previews should have shown you more about Kay's struggles. Like, I wasn't sure of Ryan Gosling's role. I mean, he seemed like the main character, but after hearing the recap, I was like, why didn't the previews like make me feel more for Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, they did that on purpose so that because his struggle is all a big spoiler. So they stayed away from it and they just future porned the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Just like old Blade Runner.
I don't think it did him any favors.
Certainly did not.
Also, you know the Philip K. Dick novel, Android's Dream of Electric Sheep?
Yeah.
That it's based on. I thought at the end, because at the end he's with the wolf, Deckard is?
Yeah.
I was like, man, they should have made it a sheep. You know?
Oh, Jesus,
as
man.
a nod to the book. And this is why I'm not a filmmaker. And then I realized a grown man living alone for the rest of his life in a hotel with a sheep. Welcome to episode 71 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother recaps a movie he saw from beginning to end for me and you, because we like his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique, so let's get it on. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Across from me, our sound guy, Rick.
Salutations.
And here he is, folks.
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. Ding! You know him, you love him. He's Ron.
Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, what's up? I'm back, motherfuckers.
Yeah. How was Halloween Horror Nights?
Oh, man, it was great.
Had a good time?
Hell yeah. Lots of fun. Went with Heather. They had one haunted house was The Shining.
Yeah.
So they had the twins, the creepy twins walking around, but they would not pose for photos. They wouldn't stop. So Heather told me to photobomb them. So I tried to do that, and then one of them yelled at me for being too close to them. We got a pic of that happening, so I'll post that.
All right, cool. Okay. Remember hubris? Hubris? Turns out it's pronounced hubris.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's like a Hebrew thing.
Yeah.
Hubris. There you go. I learned something.
Yeah, okay. You learned something good.
Okay. What you got, Rick?
Well, how about a movie death of the week?
What do you got?
Our movie death comes from 1983's Return of the Jedi.
All right. When Boba Fett gets knocked into the Sarlacc pit
Nope.
from like a Mr. Bean gag.
Yeah.
Remember that shit?
Uh-huh.
And everyone like fetishizes Boba Fett.
I know.
And he's like a fucking doofus in that movie.
Well, the death we're going to focus on is Darth Vader.
All right.
You all know this one. But either way, what I want to share with you is not so much the death, but a legacy. What the fuck? Ready? Here we go. You're a kid. You're not very old, but who cares anyway? And whatever, you stumble across Star Wars. You finally get to see Return of the Jedi, to sum up your Star Wars experience, on VHS, mind you. Pre-recorded, so all the awesome network commercials are there too. It gets to the end sequence with Vader, Luke, and Palpatine. Now, young Skywalker, you will die. Remember that? And Palpatine starts electrocuting the shit out of Luke.
Uh-huh.
But with a quick change of heart, Darth Vader picks that asshole up, electrocuting himself in the process, and throws him down a well in the Death Star. And guess what? The VHS runs out of tape and the screen turns blue. For years and years, that was the end of Jedi for me. I mean, what the hell are you going to do? I was in a foreign country, so you don't have access to shit like Return of the Jedi, sold in its trilogy pack for all the American kids to watch. I've only just seen the end of Jedi.
Dun, 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 dun.
And you know what? What a bunch of shit. I like the blue screen better. Darth winds up dying from all the electrocution he takes from the Emperor and takes his helmet off to reveal that he's a lame white boy and not James Earl Jones. Don't you want your hero to have a badass, deep-voiced black man as a dad, even though he's white? Fuck it.
Yes.
It worked for me. And, well, there you go. That's my movie death of the week. Not Darth Vader telling Luke that he was right about the good Jedi deep down inside of him, but the Darth Vader that threw the Emperor down the well and died as such a badass as to turn the whole screen blue and end the entire franchise. That's it. No Ewoks, no celebration. Just take the trash out and get the fuck on with your life.
Yeah.
And that, gentlemen, was your movie death of the week.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome, Chris.
Thank you very much. I hear the hand hurt. I hear the hand hurt.
All right, folks, get ready to put on your baby masks and get to stabbing, because it's Happy Death Day on Movies with Ron.
It's showtime.
Here we go. Okay, so we start off with the Universal logo, and it quits and repeats 3 fucking times. It was the coolest thing that happened in this movie.
Oh, nice.
Like, that shit made me smile. I was like, okay, cool, we are in for some shit. Nah, that was it. So we open on a college campus. You can see a big clock tower. And then the bell starts tolling. Bong, bong, bong. And this blonde chick wakes up in some bed, right?
Then put your little hand in mine.
And her father is calling her on her cell phone. And her ringtone is like, it's your birthday. And she wakes up. She's like, oh, Jesus. And then this like nerdy little college kid is there, and he's like, oh, hey, yeah, you're awake. I didn't know if you wanted to sleep in or not. And she's like, Jesus, am I in a fucking dorm room? Well, yeah, you're in mine. And she's got this look on her face like, oh, fuck. Like, she is so embarrassed. He's like, I don't know if you remember my name, but, you were pretty wasted last night. It's Carter. And immediately, I like Carter because he's got a They Live poster on his wall.
All right.
And for a college kid, he seems to have done pretty well for himself with this blonde chick.
Yeah.
Played by Jessica Roth. I guess she came from that movie La La Land. So this is her like striking out on her own. She plays a girl named Tree.
Oh.
So that's weird.
Yeah.
She gets up. She's obviously in his T-shirt. And he's like, oh, here's your stuff, and gives her back her clothes. She puts on her shirt, which is all glittery. And he starts to try to talk to her. She's like, you know what? You better not say a fucking word about this to anybody. And he's like, yeah, okay. And then all of a sudden, his roommate bumps in through the door, and he's like, oh, man, tell me you hit that fine vagina. Oh, shit. Because she's there. And he's like, oh. And he like backs up, and then she walks by him like, you fucking prick. And like leaves. And then Carter's like, thanks, dickhead. So then Tree walks out into the quad, and we get all the things that we know we're going to be seeing many, many more times throughout the movie. There's like a hipster guy walking by her and like looking her up and down.
Uh-huh.
There's a girl with a clipboard saying, save the planet, trying to get her to sign. There's a car alarm that goes off. There's a couple of lovers sitting in the yard when the sprinklers go off. And there is a fraternity hazing going on where these guys are being made to stand there and sing 100 bottles of beer on the wall over and over. And one of them is holding up a sign that says 26th hour. And then one of them passes out. She walks through all this shit like, oh my God, you fucking scum. So she's walking around a corner, and then this fucking meathead jock like steps out from the corner and like blocks her path. And he's like, hey, Tree, what's going on? She's like, oh God, it's you. And he's like, hey, you didn't call me. I was just wondering what's going on here. She's like, listen, dude, we went on one date. Okay, that doesn't make us together, and I don't have to answer when you call. Well, yeah, but, I thought we had a really great time on that date. She's like, you had a great time. Let me tell you something, man. Don't bring your date to Subway. You definitely don't have a foot long.
Oh, I got that.
This guy is definitely the Ned Ryerson of this movie.
Okay.
Ned Ryerson is from Groundhog Day, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen it, see it now. She's like, I'm out of here. And then he's like, okay, call me. She looks back like, get fucked. She goes back home to her sorority house. There's this girl who's sitting out front, and she's like really nice and smiles and waves at her. And Tree looks at her like, bitch. Just keeps going. She sneaks inside like real quiet, like, not quiet enough though, because Danielle, the house bitch, who is in charge of everybody, she's like, well, look at you. I don't know what his name was, but, fucking whatever. She's like making her feel all horrible. She's like, remember, at lunchtime, there's a house meeting. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll be there. She goes up into her room, and we meet her roommate, Lori, who's like a nursing student. And she's in her scrubs, and she's like, hey, how's it going? She's really nice to Tree. Tree is a complete bitch to her. We start to get the feeling that Tree is a bitch. And she might need to change her ways.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. You see all these people in the quad that she's passing by, and you're like, well, she's going to have to learn to treat them differently if she's going to get out of this.
I've seen Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's like, I wonder if in this movie universe, Groundhog Day exists.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see.
She should be too nice, and then she becomes a bitch.
That would have been better.
Yeah. Like she's got to toughen up,
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
So then Lori's like, hey, Tree. Tree turns around, and Lori is holding a cupcake with a single little birthday candle burning in it. And she's like, oh my God, how did you know? Oh, I looked at your driver's license. Come on, you can't hide it from everybody. Tree's like, yeah, thanks. Takes the cupcake and blows it out. And if you can picture, she blows it out like a bitch. She like gives Lori a look like, you're nothing. And then drops the cupcake right into the garbage. And Lori's like, what the fuck, man? Sorry, too many carbs. And then she fucking walks out. And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
So now she's late for class, and she goes into, she sneaks into class, and the professor like looks up, and he's like, a young professor with a beard. And he looks up at her, and she looks at him, and she kind of like cracks a little bit of a smile, and you can tell, uh-oh, attraction.
Yeah.
Now we see her at this lunchtime house meeting for the sorority, and Danielle, the house bitch, is standing up, going over all the rules and everything, and talking about some charity they're going to support this year. And she's like, we are not doing like the special needs or something like that, because all of those handicapped people like creep me out.
Man.
So Tree is sitting there. All of these girls are sitting there with just like bottles of water on their tables. And then this other lady named Becky comes and sits down, and she has got a full tray of lunch. Danielle goes, what the fuck is that? I don't know. I miss breakfast. Is that chocolate milk? Well, yeah. She's like, God damn it. We all miss breakfast. We are Kappas. Like, calling her a fat hoe.
Yeah.
Okay. While this is happening, behind everybody, we see a merchandise stand for all of the football team mascot shit. We learned that the school is like Bayfield University, and their mascot is the Bayfield Baby. And it's on hats and flags and shit, and yep, there's a big old baby mask. Yep, on sale for everyone. Right about then, Carter comes bumbling by, just as Becky is shamed into getting up from the table and walking away with her lunch, and he bumps into Becky and douses that chocolate milk all over Tree.
Ah.
And she's like, you fucking dick. He's like, I'm sorry. I was just trying to return this to you. I don't know where you live. I just saw you out here. And he gives her her bracelet that she left. He's like, I'm sorry, Tree. And then Danielle's like, you guys fucking know each other? Tree's like, no. Very embarrassing. And it seems like sorority life might be pretty hard. So now Tree is walking into, I guess, the campus hospital. On her way in, she bumps into Lori, still in her scrubs. She's like, whoa. Lori's like, what are you doing here? I thought you worked the night shift. Yeah, well, I'm covering for somebody else. Look, I don't know what you're doing here, but I'm guessing that no good can come of it. And then Tree's like, yeah, well, gotta go. And then she gets in the elevator and drives up. And we're like, what? But then we immediately find out. She walks into the office of her professor, who is a doctor. The young guy with the beard. And then they just start fucking getting it on.
Damn.
Yeah. While they're doing that, Tree kicks a chair and it slides over and like jams the door shut, like underneath the knob.
Mm-hmm.
No sooner does that happen than the doorknob starts jiggling. And the doctor's like, hang on 1 second. Then he opens it up and it's his wife.
Oh, jeez.
He's like, oh, hey, babe, my student, Tree. Have you ever met her? No. Tree's like, okay, thanks for your help. And she leaves. And you can see on the wife's face, no, not gonna fly. It's like, don't lock your fucking door. So Tree is back in her dorm room, and you can tell it's evening, and Danielle walks in. Tree's like, is that my fucking top? Well, yeah, doesn't it look good on me? Holy shit. I'm just borrowing it for one night. It's okay. Right then, the power goes out for like 2 seconds. So it's total darkness. And then Danielle's like, oh, our tuition dollars at work. Isn't that awesome? Anyway, what time are you heading to the party tonight? Oh, I don't know, later. And then her phone rings again, and it's go, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. And it's her dad. Okay, now, she has chosen this birthday song as her ringtone.
Yeah.
But it's also made clear throughout the movie she does not want people to know it is her birthday. So why would you do that,
Yeah. You know the director of this movie?
No.
Let me show him to you.
Am I supposed to know him?
Yeah, he's just like Perfect Joe College, man.
Yeah, that's
it's
weird.
like, what the hell? All right, check out the writer.
Looks like a mean man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. So it's this, he's writing what he thinks college students do.
Yeah.
They should have switched places.
Yeah. So she ignores her dad's call again. And now we see her on the way to this party. She's walking. It's nighttime. Walking across the quad. Bunch of other college kids are like hooting and hollering. They're all wearing like baby masks and shit. Like getting ready for the football game. Yeah. Bayfield babies. She passes them and then one of them turns around. And he's like just wearing black pants, a hoodie, and a fucking baby mask. And he's just like staring at her. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, okay. There he is. That's the killer. So then she walks down into this tunnel, in the middle of which there is a little music box playing Happy Birthday to You. And she's immediately creeped out. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then she turns around and, yep, there is Babyface. So he's just staring at her. And Tree is like, what the fuck, asshole? I ain't playing this shit. Why don't you go bother those heifers up at Delta Gamma? They like cosplay. And he's just standing there staring at her. She's like, okay, you know what? I am calling the cops. And then he runs away. He was standing at the mouth of the tunnel. Okay, so he just like runs off to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts walking back through the tunnel the other way. And then the music box like starts up again. She's like, what the fuck? She turns around and looks at it. Right then, Babyface Killer just fucking drops down and fucking stabs her in the chest as she turns around.
Damn.
Yeah, so then she wakes up in the dorm room.
Then put your little hand in mine.
And Carter is like, hey, there you are. You're waking up. I didn't know if you want to sleep in. I don't know if you remember my name. You were pretty wasted. She's like, Carter. And he goes, wow, you do remember me. And she's kind of confused, right?
Yeah.
She's not quite panicking or anything like that. And she goes through that whole shit again with him where she's like, give me my clothes. Give me a Tylenol. I'm hungover. I guess I skipped that the first time around. Because he looks for the Tylenol and she tells him where it is. Oh, you act like you've been here before.
Okay.
So she walks outside, passes that shitty roommate who's like, fine vagina.
Yeah.
Okay. She walks outside. She might be a little bit nicer this time because she just kind of looks at the hipster, and then the protester who's like, save the planet. She just kind of looks at her. She doesn't look at her like, fuck you, whore. She's walking by watching all the sprinklers go off, the car alarm, and then the fucking frat dude passing out. She's just like, what the hell is going on here? Oh my God. So then that guy pops around the corner again, Ned Ryerson, okay? And he's like, hey, Tree, you didn't call me. And she's like, wait a minute. This is weird. What day is it? He's like, it's Monday, the 18th. She's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, you didn't call me. We were supposed to go on a date, again. And she's like, yeah, I gotta go. And she just walks by and he's like, call me. She goes through walking back into the sorority house, past Danielle. And now she's in her room again, and her roommate gives her the cupcake. And this time, she doesn't drop it in the garbage. She blows out the candle, but then simply sets the cupcake down. And then walks out. She goes to the lunch meeting again, and still ends up getting covered in chocolate milk. Carter's like, you know what? I'm sorry about the mess. And he goes to run away, and she's like, hey! And then she holds her hand out. And he's like, what? She's like, my bracelet. Oh, yeah, okay. And he pulls it out and gives it to her. Now we cut to her meeting her doctor boyfriend, Professor Guy.
Yeah.
Who looks barely older than her. She walks into the office and physically locks the door. She's like, listen, something's going on. I'm not so sure. And he's like, come on, let's get it on, baby. And then the wife starts jiggling the knob again. And he's like, oh my God, thank God you locked the door. So she ends up leaving again. The wife is still pissed. Talking to Danielle, getting ready to go to this party, when she borrowed her top. And then the blackout happens again. This time, she looks at the clock, and we see that it's 9:23. Danielle's like, what time are you going to the party? Tree is obviously like, what the fuck is happening to me? So she's not paying attention. She's like, I'm sorry, what? And then Danielle, makes sign language and goes, what time are you going to the party? And it's like, damn, she is a fucking bitch. I gotta know later. So now she's walking to the party again. Passes by all those people in the baby masks, and is about to walk into the tunnel when she hears the happy birthday music box going. And then she goes, nope. No way. So she bypasses the tunnel, and she goes to the house where this party is supposed to be going on, and it's like all the lights are out and shit. She's like, what the hell? Goes up and tries the door. It's fucking locked. And she's like, damn it. And she turns around, and then behind her, the fucking door creaks open, and there is a fucking baby face. It opens up the door. And we're like, oh, okay, she's going to die again right here. So then she turns around and sees him and goes, oh no, motherfucker, and just punches him in the face. He falls down, and right then, all the lights come on, and there is a house full of people in there that go, surprise! And it's her fucking birthday surprise party.
That's pretty good.
And she's like, God damn it. And then this kid, gets up, and he's taking off the mask. And he's like, geez, what's going on here? She's like, oh yeah, sorry. And then Danielle is there, and she's like, yeah, what the fuck? And she just turns around to the whole party, and she goes, don't mess with a Kappa, bitch! And then the whole place just erupts in applause. So now the party's going on, and she's talking to Danielle, and we learn that Danielle really likes that guy, the long-haired dude, Nick. Mm-hmm. He walks up to Tree, and he's like, hey, how about a truce? She's like, yeah, sorry. He's like, it's okay, you can make it up to me later. And he walks away. Danielle is like, what? What the fuck? Because that's her man. So then Tree sees him walking away and looking at her follow me, baby. And she cracks a smile you know what? Even though this weird Twilight Zone shit's happening to me, I'm gonna go get fucked. And she follows him up to his room. She gets into his room and she can't see him anywhere. And then she's like, Nick, what's going on? She turns around. Right there is the babyface killer, fucking standing there. And she's like, what the fuck's going on? You know what? I'm not okay with this. How about we be done with the baby mask, okay? And he's just standing there staring at her. And she's like, starting to maybe get creeped out. Maybe it's not Nick. And then Nick takes off the mask. And he's like, hey, welcome. And he holds up a fucking remote control and he goes, to the pleasure dome. And then pushes a button and all these fucking lights start going and there's a fucking mirror ball that comes out of the ceiling. And it's like a fucking nightclub in his room. And all this music starts playing and then he just starts dancing. Like, come on, baby. He's like enticing her and shit. She's like, kind of staring. What the fuck is happening here? Like, this is your fucking room? And he's got this big blue bong, sitting on his table. She's like, nice. Yeah. What the fuck am I doing here? And then her phone goes off and she gets a text from Danielle. And it's like, where are you? Are you with him right now? God damn it. She turns around so she's not facing Nick anymore so she can answer her text. She's like, no, I would never do that to you. While she's texting her back, we see behind her another baby face motherfucker come out of the closet and fucking kill Nick.
Oh.
Like behind her back. She can't hear it because of the music, right? And then he just like slumps the body to the side and then just stands there. So she turns back around and sees that Nick's wearing the fucking mask again, right? And she's like, what the fuck? You know what? I'm done with this shit. All right? Fuck this. I'm leaving. And then he like moves to the side and gets in her way. She's like, what the fuck, man? Let me out of here. She looks down to the left on the floor. There's dead ass Nick. She's like, oh, shit. And then they get into a big old wrestling match. And he gets her down on the bed. And he's like on top of her. And we know he's fighting her and he's going to kill her. But right then, Nick's roommate comes in and he's like, whoa, what's going on? Tree yells out, help me, goddammit, help me. And then the guy just goes, ho, 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 and leaves.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man. And she's like, what the fuck? And then they're wrestling and she's trying to get away from him. And then Babyface just grabs that big blue bong, smashes it on the fucking table, and then stabs her in the fucking chest with it.
Oh.
She wakes up in the dorm room again.
Then put your little hand in mine.
And Carter's like, oh, hey, you're awake. And she's like, no! She is now like full on panicking, okay? She gets up, she pushes Carter out of the way, runs out the door, passes the fucking roommate, and then runs out into the quad. And this is where the director does not know what he is doing, because she didn't spend any more time in the dorm room. She didn't sit there and have the conversation with him. She didn't get the aspirin. She just ran out of the fucking dorm room and out into the quad. And all of the same stuff is happening, when obviously she has gone out there 2 to 3 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
And all of the events like the sprinklers and the car alarm and the dude passing out, that is all still happening just like it was before.
Okay.
So he has no concept of the mechanics of his own mythology
All right.
that he has stolen anyway. So she's running through and she is panicking. Like, oh my God, oh my God. The lady's like, shave the panic. She's like, get away from me, bitch. And she just fucking runs home. Runs past, Ned Ryerson. And she's like sitting there talking with her roommate. And she's like, listen, I have lived through this day twice already. And her roommate Lori is like, wait, come on now. You're talking crazy. She's like, no, fucking seriously. All right, you know what? I'll prove it. You made me a cupcake. And she's holding the cupcake behind her back. She's like, what? You made me a cupcake and there was a surprise party for me later tonight. Oh, come on. Who told you? Nobody, goddammit. I've already been there, and I was fucking killed. And that's when Lori says, listen, I know today is hard because of your mom, okay? So you know what? Why don't you just stay home tonight? Why don't you just get some rest, okay? And then it just cuts to Tree having boarded up her window. When monster is loose, boards must be tight.
Following in his grandfather's footsteps.
Oh, young Frankenstein.
Yes.
Okay.
You're with us.
So she locks her door, and Danielle tries to come in, wearing her top. And she's like, why is the door locked? God damn it. I just need some me time, All right, well, when are you going to the party? Right then, it's 9:23, and there's a blackout for like 2 or 3 seconds, okay? She's like, I don't know. I might not even go. Whatever. So she's going through stuff on her desk, and she finds a black envelope with a birthday card in it. She opens it up, and the birthday card is filled out, enjoy today, 'cause there's no more tomorrow. And she's like, oh, Jesus. She puts it down. She's looking around the room. Oh, okay. She's watching TV. She's watching like Teen Moms or something. And she's like, where did that stupid fucking roommate put the remote control? Then there's a news flash about like an escaped convict or something like that named Dickie Toombs or something, you know. And they show him on TV. His last name is Toombs for sure. They show him on TV and he's like, an old man with long hair. And he looks like a killer.
Yeah.
So they're like, Dickie Toombs, he's on the loose. And she looks at it and she's like, wait, there's a killer on the loose? And then the TV just turns off. Remember, she couldn't find the remote control. She's like, whoa, wait the fuck a minute. She gets up and she looks over at the closet. Door's open a little bit, so the killer's probably in the closet, changing the channels. She goes over, she investigates. It's pretty spooky and scary. Yep, nope, nobody in there. Then she turns to the bathroom, and the shower curtain is closed. And she starts inching towards it and like creeping towards it. And the music is getting all scary and shit. And she reaches out to pull the curtain aside when all of a sudden, fucking TV turns back on. And she's like, what the fuck? She turns around. And she's like watching more shit about Dickie Toombs. And then out from the fucking shower curtain behind her comes the babyface killer, sneaking up on her. She turns around and sees him, and she's like, what the fuck? And he just shoves a fucking kitchen knife into her belly and rams her up against her own bedroom door. The knife, like, penetrates through, like we see on the other side. Mm-hmm. Fucking wakes up in the dorm room again.
Then put your little hand
All right. But this time, remember last time she was panicking? This time she has completely fucking lost it. And she just runs out fucking screaming. She runs out into the quad. She's like screaming. Everybody's just fucking staring at her. Like even the guy who's about to pass out, you know? And she's like turning around in a circle and you can see maybe she's about to faint when all of a sudden Carter shows up behind her. And he's like, hey, are you okay? And she's like, oh my God. And then she grabs onto him and hugs him. And he's like, all right. And then it cuts. It cuts to them in a diner. And they saved a lot of trouble this time. They cut to her having already explained what is happening and him already believing and trying to help her.
I'm a guy. I'm not the guy. I don't think.
So he's like, well, you know, who would want to kill you? You know, who would have motive to? And she's like, I guess Danielle, because I fucked a dude. And then he's like, well, wait, when did you fuck the dude? She's like, last night. And he goes, oh, it must have been before we met. I guess it was a busy night for you. And she's like, oh, look at you, Judgy Judgerson.
Fucking seriously.
You took a fucking drunk girl back to your dorm room to take advantage of her. And you're judging me, asshole.
So she did fuck someone else.
Well, I think she actually just made out with him because it's like, you know, tame problems in life.
All right.
But he goes, I did not take advantage of you. She's like, wait, what? He's like, no, you were so drunk. You know, I made my buddy sleep in his car and I slept in his bed while I left you alone. And she gets this look on her face like, oh my God, he's the good guy. I think I love him. And he's like, well, you know, who else would have a motive to kill you? And she just lists off all these people, like even like people she was mean to at the mall. Because remember, bitch.
Yeah.
So it turns out making the list is kind of pointless. He's like, well, you know, what it looks like is you have an unlimited supply of lives that you can use to, solve your own murder. So maybe you should start doing that. She's like, yeah. And then we get a montage.
Fuck yeah.
And we see her peeking in through the window of Ned Ryerson. Bang! Yeah, okay. And she's like looking at him. And he's looking at his laptop, okay? It shows him watching something on the laptop, and then he grabs his box of Kleenex. She's just looking into his bedroom window, okay? He grabs the Kleenex, and we're like, oh, okay, he's about to start jacking it. And then he, like, looks up at the window, and she has to duck down real quick. And then she, like, peeks back up real slow, and some dude comes into his room, and he's like, hey, come on, man, we gotta go party or something. Let's go. So then he leaves, and he leaves the laptop. She looks at it, gay porn. Yeah. And she's like, oh my God, that explains everything. Okay, I get it. And then she turns around, there's the babyface killer, and he fucking stabs her in the fucking stomach with a knife.
Oh, Jesus.
So then when she wakes up, we just get her like writing that guy's name down and scratching it off the list.
Yeah.
Which I guess she has to do for every single suspect every time now.
Good.
Just for the
God.
purpose of that shot in the movie. All the names being crossed off. Next, she's spying on the doctor's wife. And she has actually like painted her face black and she's using night vision goggles and shit. It's like, where'd she get all this shit?
What the?
It's fine. There's music playing. It's a montage. Let's move on. Mm-hmm. So she's spying on the wife and she's like, oh, I guess, you know. And then she just gets killed from behind by the fucking babyface killer. Finds her wherever she is. Next, she runs into Danielle on the street. And Danielle like drops all of her stuff. We see in her stuff a black envelope with a birthday card in it. And it's like, oh, motherfucker. So Tree is like, oh, okay, bitch. Guess what? I found you. And she just starts fucking attacking her. And they're like rolling around, fucking cat fighting and shit. They roll out into the middle of the street. They stand up and get hit by a bus.
Then put your hand in mine.
It shows her again, like sneaking around at night. And somebody comes up behind her. She turns around and like hits him with a fucking baseball bat. And it turns out that it was Becky, the girl with the lunch. And she's like, oh my God, Becky. And then she gets killed by the babyface killer who was behind her. So this time she wakes up again. And something's different this time. She's got some pain in her tummy. She's like doubling over and it hurts and shit. And Carter's like, hey, you're awake. What's wrong? She's like, I don't know. I don't feel good. Oh, whatever. She goes outside and she ends up passing out. So then she wakes up in the hospital. When she wakes up, she sees the babyface killer coming at her. And then as it gets close to her, it like changes and it's just Carter. Like she was hallucinating.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you're in the hospital. I've been here with you all day. And she's like, oh, shit, really? And then the 9:23 blackout happens. 2 seconds of darkness. The lights come back on. Her doctor boyfriend is standing right next to Carter. And he just goes, what are you doing here? And it scares the shit out of Carter. And he's like, oh, man, okay, shit, sorry, man. And the doctor is obviously like, so you like this girl? Oh, get ready to die, bitch. Visiting hours are over. And then Carter's like, okay, I guess I'll leave. So then the doc is like, hey, babe, some problems with you here. What's going on? She's like, I don't know, but, somebody's trying to fucking kill me. He's like, no, don't worry about it. You're, man, you have got some fucking problems. Look at this. And he shows her an x-ray and it's all like soft tissue damage, but he shows that she has like internal scarring. Like her body is holding on to all the damage that has been happening to her. She doesn't just wake up scot-free now. Okay.
Wow.
So when she wakes up, she is like healed, but it's all like it did happen before. Like
Yeah.
full of scars. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, there's so much scarring and like lesions inside of your body. Like you should be dead, babe. And she's like, I gotta get out of here. And he's like, no, you can't leave. We gotta run some tests on you. And she's like, oh, okay. You know what? I'm really thirsty. Would you go get me a soda? And he's like, coming up. Cause he's like, my underage girlfriend, or not underage, but my inappropriate girlfriend is, she's stuck here with me. He runs off to get a soda. As soon as he leaves, she fucking sneaks out. She goes into his office, the same one we were in before, with his wife. Mm-hmm. She starts digging through his desk, looking for his car keys. I know this because she was like, come on, keys. She opens up a drawer, finds a baby mask. Dun, dun, dun. And she's like, oh, fuck. So now she's sneaking out of the hospital. She has the car keys. Sneaking down the hallway, she's in like a hospital gown still. Mm-hmm. And then the doctor boyfriend just like shows up with the soda and he's like, hey, what? Whoa, okay, whoa. You're disoriented, babe. It's okay. You know what? Why don't you come with me? And she's like backing up like, oh man, no way. You're the fucking killer, asshole. And then all of a sudden, the babyface killer shows up behind the doctor and kills him.
Nice.
Stabs him in the back. Yeah. So she runs. The killer is now running after her and he looks like he might just catch her. She ends up taking a right at the end of a hallway and the killer like hits the wall with the knife. Like he just missed her. She runs into the parking garage and like kind of hides and evades him.
Yeah.
Babyface is walking around like looking around, moving his big head. She holds up the key fob and activates the button. The doctor's Mercedes, like, bloop, bloop, and it's pretty close by. But now, Babyface knows where she's going.
Yeah.
He's farther away from her, though, so she actually makes a break for the car. Just about gets in it when the killer is like, right there, trying to pull her out of the car. She fights him off, shuts the door, and then he breaks out the window. And she's like, God damn it, no, no, no. She starts the car and drives away. And the killer's like, damn it. But pantomiming it. Like shaking his fist in the air. She drives away, fucking speeds away, and she's like, yeah! She's fucking celebrating. She's like, I did it, fuck yeah! Try to catch me now, bitch! And right then behind her, woo, 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 fucking cop. And she's like, oh no, 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 god damn it, no! She gets pulled over, and there's this big old cop walks up to the door. He's like, all right, license and registration. She's driving a stolen car, and the owner is dead. So she's like, oh, shit. Okay, I don't have it. And he's like, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, sorry. There's this guy. He's trying to kill me. He's been trying to kill me all over again. And the cop is like, the fuck is that supposed to mean? You're fucking talking crazy. Hey, are you under the influence of alcohol right now? She's like, no, goddammit. Hey, wait a minute. If I was, does that mean you would arrest me and put me in a jail cell? And the cop goes, yeah, that's usually how it works. Yeah. She's like, I'm drunk. He's like, what? Wait, what? She's like, yeah, I'm drunk and high. Oh my God, so fucking high. Been doing pills, everything. I am ready. And he's like, okay, this is weird. She's like, here, let me help you. She gets out of the car and like turns around, puts her hands behind her back. He's like, all right, I guess I'm taking you in. And he goes and he puts her in the back seat of the cop car. Just as he shuts it, he gets a call over the radio saying, hey, there's been a murder at the hospital. And he's just about to respond when, boom, he gets hit by a fucking car. And the car also kind of like grazes the side of his cop car. And it screeches to a halt, and we see behind the driver's seat, fucking Babyface. I might add, the guy who designed the Babyface mask for this is the same guy who designed Ghostface for Scream.
Really?
Yep. So
that's like a job?
yeah, I guess.
We need a mask guy.
Yeah. So that would be why it's so stupid. So Babyface gets out and walks up to the cop car, and she's locked in it, and she's like, all right, that's it. Fuck you, Babyface, you fucking pussy. And then Babyface just stops and turns around and goes and gets back in his car. She's like, wait a minute, where the fuck are you going? Where the fuck are you going, you pussy? And then out the window of his car, he holds out a lit birthday candle. And right then, she kind of leans back and looks at the car that she's in, and it is spewing gasoline from when he hit the car.
Oh, shit.
So then the killer just drops the candle, and it ignites, and she's like, no! And then the car fucking blows. Boom! And then
put your little hand in mine.
this time she wakes up, she's totally quiet, like, man, I am fucked. And she walks out, and she passes that roommate just before he opens the door. She's like, hi, I'm the fine vagina that you were about to talk about. And I was just saying, if you're going to talk about women like that, you're going to have a long relationship with your hand. And he's like, oh, man, I'm a dickhead. And he, like, never even said a word. She just walks out into the quad, and Carter follows her. He's like, hey, what the hell's going on? You okay? And she's like, no, man, I've been living this whole fucking thing over and over and over. And he's like, that's crazy talk. What are you talking about? And now is the scene where she's like,
I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
yeah, pretty much. And she's like, cue the sprinklers, cue the car alarm. See that guy over there? He's going to pass out in 3, 2, 1. And now Carter's like, okay, I believe you. Now they're sitting in the diner, and he's like, listening to her try to explain shit again. But this time, she doesn't give a fuck. She's like eating all this fatty stuff. Like, there are so many scenes that were lifted right out of Groundhog Day. Only they did one better this time. She leans over and lets out this huge dumpster fart. And he goes, did you get it all out? She's like, doesn't fucking matter, man. You're not going to remember this. At this point, her dad calls her again, and, she ignores it. But remember, the ringtone is a birthday song, so he's like, hey, today's your birthday? She's like, yeah. So they start talking about, like, her birthday, and it turns out she shared her birthday with her mother, who died 3 years ago. This is about as close as we come to maybe why this is happening. Maybe some sort of cosmic, crossroads happening. And she's like, you know what? A real fucking shitty person. They don't know how shitty they are until they relive the same day over and over. And my mom would not be very proud of who I am. And he's like, well, it's never too late to change and be a good person. She's like, yeah, you know what? I think I am running out of time because every time I wake up, I'm weaker every time. So sooner or later, it's going to be done. Like I have a finite amount of lives. And he's like a cat. Right then, there's a news flash. And they're like, yeah, the fucking Dickie Toombs. He's been caught and he's being held in the fucking college hospital. Like under guard. She's like, hey, turn this up. And it turns out that he's like a Ted Bundy type. He's like, targeting young blonde college girls. And he is a murderer and rapist of women. And she's like, oh, holy shit, it's him. Motherfucker. You know what? He's gonna escape. Come on, we gotta go. So she runs to the hospital, and she's like running down the hallway, and she busts out the glass of a fire axe. She gets there too late and finds the guard that's guarding his room is gone. So she walks in, nobody's in the room. Finds the dead guard on the floor. She's like, oh, fuck. And then right behind her is fucking Dickie Toombs in the baby face mask. And she's like, you motherfucker. And he's coming at her. And, he fucking grabs her. He's swinging her around the fucking hallway, trying to get on top of her and shit. Right then, Carter shows up and fucking tackles the motherfucker. Knocks him right off of her. And then they start wrestling. And Tree looks up and she's like, oh my God. Just in time for Dickie Toombs, who has now taken off his mask. We definitely know it's Dickie Toombs. And he just breaks Carter's neck. And she's like, no, Carter! So she runs downstairs into the basement, and Toombs follows her. And he's like, come on, bitch. You're mine now. And she totally gets the fucking jump on him and hits him over the head with a crowbar from behind. And he just falls down. And now she has got him dead to rights, and she is about to, beat his head in. When she stops, and she's like, oh shit, Carter. If I don't reset the day, Carter is gone forever.
Yeah.
So we see they're in the basement of the bell tower. So she just starts running up the stairs. And Toombs wakes up and he's like, hey, bitch, where you going? She's like, come on, motherfucker, come and get me. So he just runs up the stairs and finds her standing at the top with like a big bell rope around her neck. And she just fucking slow motion jumps off of the bell tower just like in Groundhog Day. And she reaches the end of the rope, and we just hear crack, and then
put your little hand in mine.
Movie should have ended there.
Yeah. This time she wakes up, and now she knows what to do.
Yeah.
So she is so fucking happy and ecstatic. She's just like super sweet to Carter. She's nice to the fucking roommate that busts in. She goes out in the quad. She's like signing the girl's petition. And she had grabbed Carter's pillow, and she's like, do you mind if I borrow this? He was like, oh yeah, sure. She's like, okay, I'll see you at lunch. Now she's out there, and she runs up and places the pillow just in time for the passing out frat boy to land on it. Now she goes by Ned Ryerson. Bang! And she's like, listen, I know you didn't enjoy our date. I didn't, blah, blah, blah. You know what? You need to just be yourself, okay? Don't hide the way you are. You go out there and you get yourself a fine piece of man ass. You do it, baby. And then Ned Ryerson is like, oh, yeah. I'm gay. Now she pokes her head into her class that she was late for, and her doctor boyfriend is teaching, and she's like, Dr. So-and-so. She just totally interrupts class, and he's like, yeah? She's like, I need a word with you, please. And she leaves. He walks out, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't just do it like this. She's like, you know what? I'm ending this. And he's like, what? She's like, I really shouldn't have fucking done this anyway, and it's a really scummy thing, so that's it. This is over. Well, don't expect me to let you coast through my class anymore. She's still walking away and just goes, already dropped it, and then flips him off from behind. Next is the lunchtime house meeting. Becky sits down and Danielle is like, what the fuck is that cat lady lunch you have? This is bullshit. What the fuck? And then Tree just sits down with an even fattier lunch. And she starts like shoveling fucking French fries into her face. And Danielle is like, we are Kappas, ladies. You guys, you're going to be too fat. And then Tree is like, you know what? You could use some calories too. And then throws her a ding dong. And then Danielle's like, no thanks. So she says something like super bitchy to her. And Becky is about to be shamed enough to get up and leave with her lunch, right? When Tree's like, no, hang on. She takes the chocolate milk from Becky's tray, gets up, walks over to Danielle, and real slowly just pours it all over her head. And the whole crowd is like, ooh. Like they've all been wanting to do that too because she's a bitch.
Yeah.
Right then, Carter shows up to give her bracelet, and she's like, hey, listen, you know what? Today's my birthday. You want to take me out tonight? And he's like, yeah, sure. She's like, yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a tomorrow, but if things go the way I'm expecting them to, there will be. So I'll talk to you later. And he's like, yeah, cool. And then the whole sorority is like, oh my God. Like everything is going awesome now, okay? And we are set to wrap things up. And now she has decided, because she's changed now, she's all nice, she's decided to go and meet her dad for lunch. The reason why he calls her every time, okay? She sits down and he's like, hey. They're kind of estranged. He's like, how's school? She's like, yeah, it's great. You like your classes? I don't want to do this, Dad. Well, do what? I don't want to do small talk. And then she just starts breaking down crying. She's like, I miss Mom. And he's like, I miss her too. She's like, and I thought that if I avoided it all, okay, if I avoided it and I avoided you, then somehow life would be easier, okay, but it's not. It's made me like way more miserable. And she's like, I am so sorry that I ever hurt you, Dad. And he's like, oh, happy birthday, honey. And she's like, oh, thank you, oh my God. So they've made peace and everything's going to be okay.
All right.
Just in time for us to cut to her doing her badass bitch prepping to take out the killer. And we see she's got like a mean face on and she's like putting a knife in a fucking sheath and shit. She's like ready to go take this fucker out. She looks down at the clock and she's like, oh, okay. And then she sets her watch. She's got about 30 minutes. And she's over at she goes over to the fucking hospital, right? She sees the guard outside of Toombs' room. And then it just shows the guard. He's like reading a book or something like that. And now he's got a fucking knife blade on his throat. He's like, whoa. What the fuck's going on? She's like, listen, this motherfucker is going to escape. And the guard is like, you are doing something real fucking stupid right now, okay? If you got something you need to tell me, we can talk, And she's like, oh, no. This has to happen. And then she's like, get up. And then she takes his gun away. And now she points his own gun at him. And he's like, girl, you are fucking up right now. She's like, no, he's going to fucking escape. Now you get out of here and you go get help now. And then the cop just runs off. So now she walks into the room of Dickie Toombs. And he is laying on a hospital bed and he's still like lashed down to it, and he's like sleeping. She walks in, she's standing over him for a while and she just goes, I know you're awake. Open your eyes, asshole. And yep, he opens his eyes. And he's fucking looking at her. And she goes, say goodnight, motherfucker. And then just like goes to shoot him in the face, but the gun just clicks. It's like click, 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 click. And then Dickie Toombs just sits up and gets out of the bed. Like his fucking restraints were not buckled. And he goes, safety's on, bitch. And he fucking takes the gun from her. So now he's attacking her and she's like, oh shit. So they get into a wrestling match in the hallway. He was like trying to stab her with her own knife and shit. And it got like stuck in the door. So now she's on the ground and he like pulls the knife out of the door and walks up and he is standing right up above her. Like he's got her dead to rights now, okay? And she's like, oh, fuck. And then her watch goes beep, 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 beep. And she's like, uh-huh. And then the lights go out for 2 seconds. They come back on and the killer is still standing there like, where the fuck she go? And she goes, hey, bitch. He turns around. She's standing behind him with the gun and goes, safety's off now. And then it just cuts to her and Carter in her fucking dorm room. And the lights are out and they got candles going and they are on a love date. Everything's going to be okay now. Now, after he had saved her, she was like, oh my God, you saved me. And one of the times she ran by Danielle, who was like, oh, listen, drunk bitch, maybe switch to water next time. Remember, there's a lunch meeting. She had said, I don't know what his name is. And then Tree had said, his name is Carter. And if things go well tonight, I'm going to be having his babies. It's like him saving her from the killer, like, that made all the difference.
Yeah.
So now they're on their love date, and he's like, yeah, I just can't believe you actually caught that Toombs guy.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. And he's like, did you ever figure out how he got free? She's like, nope. And he goes, oh, I guess like Houdini. And a long time ago when I was watching this movie, like very early on in this film, I was like, Carter is the killer. And she's like, well, here's my birthday cupcake that my roommate made me. And he's like, all right. And she blows the candle out and he's like, what'd you wish for? And she goes, tomorrow. And then it just fades to black. And then she fucking wakes up in the dorm room bed again. Yeah. And she is fucking pissed. She's like, what the fuck is going on? No. I got him. Fuck. It occurs to me now, at one point during one of these lives she walked through the whole quad naked. I don't remember when it happened, but okay. It doesn't matter to the story. So she goes through the quad. She's all pissed off. She's just running by everybody, okay? She makes it into her room, and her roommate is there. She's like, oh, look what the cat dragged in. I have a birthday cupcake for you. And right then, Tree stops. And she's like, wait a fucking minute. She's like, I still died. I died in my sleep. And the only difference is that this time I actually ate the cupcake.
Mm-hmm.
And the roommate's like, what are you talking about? She's like, you fucking poisoned the cupcake. You fucking did it, bitch. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, okay, well, you know what? Fuck you. Why don't I take this to the police and we'll find out. You are the killer, aren't you, bitch? You're the one who had access to Toombs because you work in the fucking hospital. And she's like, what the fuck? Why? Why would you try to kill me like that? And then Laurie's just like, because he liked you better than me. And it turns out it's the doctor boyfriend. And Tree is like, dude, you're fucking trying to kill me over a fucking stupid guy? Like fucking for real? Like that's it? That's your whole motivation? And then Laurie goes, yeah, well, you're also a stupid bitch. And she's like, I'm fucking taking this cupcake to the police. And then they get into a fight.
Oh, boy.
And it also had showed Laurie go in and undo Toombs's restraints.
Yeah.
And like put the baby face mask there for him to put on. Like when he wakes up, he'll put it on and then start killing people. That way she could blame Toombs when she murdered Tree.
Okay.
We also see a bunch of little short flashbacks of her, like right after all the times she's killed her.
Yeah.
Taking off the mask. So they're having this fucking fight, and Tree's like, come on, bitch, eat it! And she just shoves the fucking cupcake into Laurie's mouth, who then starts panicking, and she's like, oh my god, oh fuck! If that's not enough, Tree like looks up above her and sees there's a chandelier, so then she grabs onto it and swings and double kicks Laurie right out the window.
Oh, damn.
And Danielle is outside the dorm room door, and she's like, what the hell's going on in there? What's going on, you bitches? Laurie just hits the ground outside, right in front of the nice little girl that kept waving at Tree as she was walking by.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just cuts to Danielle outside the sorority house, like, being interviewed.
Damn.
And she's like, yeah, I don't know, that fucking Laurie, she was always so stupid, and like she was just not sorority material. It's just horrible. And then a couple of girls behind her are like crying because there's like a dead body. And she's like, excuse me, I'm trying to be interviewed. Now we see that Tree and Carter are together in the diner and they're watching that on TV. And he's like, hey, I know you've been through a whole lot, but now that your bedroom is a crime scene, I wonder if you wouldn't mind waking up in a dorm room. And she's like, as long as it's yours. So they're gonna be together. The camera starts panning back away from them, and he's like, you know what this whole scenario you're talking about? You know what this sounds like? And she's like, what? And he goes, Groundhog Day. And she's like, what? And he goes, Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. And she goes, who's Bill Murray? And he's like, what the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you? How do you sleep at night?
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day!
So then we fade to black. And then...
Then put your
Yep.
little hand in mine.
She
Damn.
fucking wakes up again in the dorm room, and her phone is fucking ringing and playing the birthday song, and she's like, no, god damn it. And then Carter turns around and he's like, I'm just kidding. That was just me calling you. And she's like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I was just fucking with you. It's Tuesday. It's all good. You made it. And she's like, you fucking son of a bitch. And then the credits roll, baby.
Oh, jeez.
So there you have it. Happy Death Day on Movies with Ron
Oh, man.
in all of its horrible glory.
Good job, man.
Thanks, buddy.
This movie won the box office this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
It did. Can't believe it.
It's the teen factor.
So many other movies they could have put out this weekend, Fighting each other, all the other episodes we did. Come on.
Yeah, for real. What'd you think, Rick?
Bill Murray should have been the killer.
Or at least cameoed, yeah.
I didn't think it had enough, to make it unique.
No, it is not at all unique.
I mean, it's okay to do the Groundhog Day trope now. You can do it with
Certainly.
whatever genre.
People are actually calling the Groundhog Day thing a genre of its own.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you have to set it apart. This one didn't have. It could have had creative deaths and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, he usually just stabbed her the whole time.
Yeah.
The thing that stuck out the most to me was the car blowing up and the bong.
Yeah, the
That's
bong
it.
through the chest, I guess. That's pretty good. The doctor's looking at the scar tissue in the x-rays. Did you have a bong in your chest?
Yeah.
I want to make a movie where our main character is going through the plot, and then one of his minor character friends is like, I'm living the same day over and over.
And it's just been happening to him the whole time.
Yeah. And he doesn't know whether to believe him or not. And then the guy going through the day by day over and over
Is what?
he's the Deus Ex Machina. He's the one who tells our main character, don't go into hallway B.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
I like that.
All right, folks. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. We got Twitter @MoviesWithRon. There's a Facebook page. There's movieswithron.com. Check us out. It's been fun.
All right. Love you.
Take care.
Movies with Ron.
You know something, Chris? There's a preview for this film, but I don't think it ever got made.
Okay.
It's called Product Placement.
Oh, yeah.
And, if you go onto YouTube, the channel is run by Meatball Gun.
Yeah.
And, you know something? There's no audio to this trailer, but it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
We'll have to post it. Thank you.
You're welcome.